Can I have your attention for a moment, please? If everyone can take out their handheld personal devices and cell phones. They have to be have to be powered down. They can't be on silent, any vibrate, or any other mode other than powered down. If you're speaking this evening, we ask that you please speak into the microphone, direct all comments, questions, and concerns to this board. We also ask that anyone that needs to discuss matters with one another, take it into the hallway. It interferes with our opportunity to hear those that are speaking. And as always, we're going to be courteous of each other and as well as time. We're going to start first with a motion to open this evening's meeting. Motion?
I make a motion to open the Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation for October 26, 2015.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Welcome to the October 26th, 2015 meeting of the Architectural Board of Review and Historic Preservation. My name is Curtis Highsmith, and I am your chair. I'd like to introduce our panel for this evening. We have Christina Reddy that we are expecting, Jeff Broadleaf, Esther Pastor, Brian Brady, Zach Studenroth, our historic consultant, is here this evening, along with our legal counsel, Bill Robinson, and Antoinette. We welcome you as always. We're going to start this evening's meeting with signs and first application, please.
First application is DeWitt Tishman Architects.
Okay, that's okay.
Daphne Vaughn,
All right, thank
Surfside Environmental Planning.
This is for a contractor sign on site.
It's actually a project-specific architectural sign. The owner is actually Mr. Peter DeWitt of 111 Toilsome Lane. He's the architect of his own project, which has been approved by this board and already has obtained a building permit. He would like to put up a sign that shows what he's going to be constructing.
He wants an advertisement of his construction.
Ultimately, yes.
So he wants a billboard showing what,
Yes.
it's not usually what this board will allow.
I understand.
We look at if he wants to put a contractor sign with the name of the company, a telephone number, or a website, it's one thing. To advertise or to promote, it's not really the purposes of the sign permits of this Village of Southampton. I will pound the board to
Okay.
see if they feel the same. I would rather the rendering be removed.
Okay.
Brian?
I feel the same way. I thought at first that maybe that was their logo, but it's not. That's, yeah, so.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Same here.
Okay.
I do actually have an
I'm sure you
alternative
do.
that I wanted to pass up to you. It's
Sure.
just
Yeah.
very basic.
You pass it there and have it stamped?
It's just the architectural firm's name, website, and phone number.
White
Black and white.
background, black
Yep.
lettering,
Exactly like that.
black font. Board members have any issue with the part two?
No
Yeah,
problem.
it's fine.
Is there any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the sign for DeWitt Tishman Architects LLP.
Thank you.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application, please.
Next application is Williams Sonoma Home.
Good evening. My name is Frank Bergoli. I'm with National Sign and Lighting. I'm representing William Sonoma. As you can tell by the renderings, it was taken over, its vision was taken over by Pottery Barn, located on the corner, and this is that part end of that corner building. What they'd like to do, put up over the storefront some medium bronze colored lettering, not illuminated, to read William Sonoma Home.
Okay.
This is the color of it. Then what they'd like to do in the back parking lot, this is a directory that states Pottery Barn, which is part of the front store, William Sonoma, and customer pickup by the second door. A plaque in sort of a medium yellow with this color lettering, an off-white. The third sign, what they propose, the store entrance, which will read William Sonoma. Again,
You say store entrance, where
there's a back door entrance to
back
the.
door entrance?
When you pull into the parking lot, it's on the left-hand side of the building.
Is there a sign there now?
Yes.
And the
The
sign there
sign
now
that's there
says
now is Pottery
Pottery
Barn.
Barn. Okay.
They want to switch it over to William Sonoma.
Same size?
Same
thing.
size, same everything. Again, with this bronze lettering as the logo. There are 2 designated parking spots. And all they want to do there is change the head of the parking spot sign. It'll read reserved parking for Pottery Barn, William Sonoma, customer pickup. And there's 2 designated spots in the back, in front of the back part of the building.
They currently exist? You're
Currently
just
exist.
replacing it from Pottery Barn to reading both organizations?
To read both stores.
Okay,
That's the proposal.
that's the proposal. No lanterns, no goose down, no
are.
projected lighting,
There is lighting,
but it currently exists.
currently exists. There's one overhead power lighting, and I think there's 2 goosenecks, which are over the store entrance sign.
Okay. Any window decal or any window?
Nothing.
Nothing decorative on the window?
Nothing.
So what's been proposed, you're just replacing what exists with the change of name of the new combined organization?
And it's all lit.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
No, it's not.
Okay, don't do that.
There isn't, and none of them are lit.
Brian, any comments?
No, I think it's very tastefully done.
Esther?
Welcome to the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Steve?
A nice addition to the village.
Jeff?
I'm fine.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve the application of William Sonoma Home for storefront signs.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Next application, please.
Next application, JNS Contracting LLC.
I'm Nick Sumis from JNS Contracting.
Okay. Contractor sign?
Yes.
Blue lettering, you have contracting, general contractors, construction management.
I actually gave the village a new copy. I don't have that general line right there underneath JNS Contracting.
Okay,
Yep.
so is this,
That one right there,
this is
correct.
the one you're proposing?
Yep.
Name of the company, telephone number, website.
Correct.
Correct font?
Yes.
This is a rendering.
Yes.
Brian, any comments?
No, it's fine.
No
Esther?
issues. No,
Christine?
it's great.
Fine.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the contract to sign for JNS Contracting Limited.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I know it's not on everyone's agenda, but it has been a additional application that's been added. That application is SCI Builders. It's the applicant present, please.
Daphne Vaughn, Surfside Environmental Planning
Okay.
for SCI.
Contractor sign.
Yes,
Name of the company. Is this just a block?
that's all. That's their
No.
logo,
Okay.
and they don't have any other information on the sign. That's all
Solid
it
block
is.
is their logo.
Yep,
What color is the solid block?
it's navy blue. It's kind of hard to see in that, but it's navy blue.
All right. There's no telephone number. There's no website.
No, I don't think they have interest in doing, I don't know.
No issue.
Brian,
I'm fine with it.
Christine.
Fine.
Okay.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the contract
Bless you.
That's you.
to sign for SCI Builders, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Concludes our signs permits for this evening. We start with our historic first application. Has been closed for written decision by council.
Decision is in the file, approving the application as amended. Affirmative vote on the motion will be to approve the application.
Motion to approve written decision by council for 124 Herrick Road.
I make a motion that we approve the written decision by our counsel for Antonio Farnos of 124 Herrick Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Next application is also closed for written decision by council.
Right. The applicant's representative is here, Michael, and just wanted to clarify a couple of minor technicalities with that. So do you want to just express or explain what the procedure or the time frame was here?
Mark Cirillo, AutoGate Systems, for Elm Hill LLC.
One minute, for purposes of procedure, should we reopen the application since it was closed?
I don't think it's necessary, because this is just in the way of an explanation,
Okay.
or background information, I should say.
Okay, so the application was submitted 3 meetings ago. And what had happened is, this board approved the design of the gates, and the gates were installed the following, on Friday, after the meeting. The architectural, or the historic review hadn't been completed. So the application had a survey showing the proposed location, and I resubmitted that survey showing as-built. That's what you should have now. Same location.
So we have a modification of the survey
I've had
due
that
to
file in
the
my-
installation.
Yeah, I've had the file in my office, so they may not have actually, that survey might be there, but I'm aware of it, so
Okay.
you can go ahead and approve the gates, and I will then prepare the written decision subject to that.
And the gates were installed per approval of the
Now,
initial
once you
approval?
had orally approved it, but we hadn't had a written decision before they were constructed.
Okay.
And then the survey said as proposed, and now Michael has clarified that by showing as built.
Very good. And you're still preparing the written decision?
I'll prepare that tomorrow, but we wanted to vote on it tonight. So just, if you'll just approve it, subject to the council writing the decision.
We've already approved right now it's currently closed for written decision.
Right.
You're saying approve the application.
Right, with the written decision, and I'll draft the decision in compliance tomorrow.
Motion to approve, well, it wouldn't be written decision, motion to approve the application as submitted, per council's draft of the written decision.
Second.
Motion to approve the application as submitted with a written decision by council for the changes in the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I won't make any signatures until I receive the application.
Exactly. Thanks, Michael.
Not-
Next application closed for written decision.
241 Hill Street.
And the
LLC.
file contains a written decision approving the application as submitted, and an affirmative vote on the motion will be to approve the application.
Motion to approve written decision by council.
I make a motion that we approve the written decision by our council for 241 Hill Street LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next application, also closed for written decision by council.
And likewise, the file contains the written decision approving the application as submitted. Affirmative vote on the motion will be to approve the application.
Motion to approve written decision by council.
I make a motion that we approve the written decision by council for Pamela and Michael Check at Fairley Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application, please.
Next application is William and Scarlett Robertson, 445 Hill Street.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if our historic consultant has had an opportunity to review this property. I believe that the house was built in 1845, and I checked that with the village, and if that is the case, I'm not prepared to hear anything on this until we have a report by our historic consultant.
as part of the application and within the historic district, it would be customary that our historic council do a written report after evaluation on actually first being a contributing structure within the historic district, and be, as requested by this board for recommendation to do such. With regards to this application, because it is one of delicate age, it would probably be best that you do a full report, which could possibly maybe even alter what the applicant would suggest to do going forward in the application. Quite frankly, I'm a little concerned that this wasn't asked of you before the application came before this board.
In reviewing the file, this particular house is not a contributing resource in the historic district. As far as the nomination form for National Register District is prepared, it was picked up in 2 subsequent surveys as having been constructed circa 1845. Not really sure the authenticity of the resource of that, or the source of that can be checked. So it was noted twice in surveys subsequent to the original nomination form that it is of historical interest and importance, and was so listed. But I had the opportunity, because the nomination form for the National Register District prepared back in late 80s is difficult for the building department to read at times, because it's listed, not listed alphabetically by street. It's by neighborhood and alphabetical within neighborhoods. It's very hard for them to find things at times. So I prepared a document for them to follow, so that they would know everything that's listed in the district, whether it's contributing or not. This is not. So that's the information they have to go on. They refer to this document now, whether something's contributing or not, and this was overlooked, perhaps. So it's understandable that an applicant would not be privy to this being regarded as of historical interest, because it's not identified as such in the nomination form. But subsequent surveys which have re-examined these neighborhoods has identified it as such. So I think we have a gray area here with an important house, potentially of historical interest, that should be handled as such, but it was not documented as such in the 1980s, and therefore you don't have that documentation to base your judgment on initially. In either case, if the structure has important architectural and historical interest, it should be regarded as such when whatever is proposed is brought forward.
Are we saying that it was an oversight, that this wasn't
Yes.
acknowledged, I mean, that itself brings light to the fact that I think a thorough evaluation from our expert to do any type of, at least analyze and come back with some type of findings on this application before and so we can take the substance and total consideration.
I think that's fair all around, because, you know, the board, your board, wants to make a good judgment about what's appropriate in terms of adding, enlarging a historical residence. And you're going to bring that judgment to it anyway. It's important to know as much about the building as possible. There were oversights in that inventory that was done in 1979. It's not unusual for that to occur, and that appears to be the case. But I think moving forward, a fair examination of what's proposed should take into account whatever historical interest there is in that essential building, because that should inform the aesthetic and the scale and whatever is being proposed. And I'm sure that something can be resolved, but I think it's important to have as much information available as possible, and that's the
So
best way to move
will you
forward.
prepare a report?
Yes.
Thank you.
indeed.
As such, suggestion of this board, its chair and this board, that before really going over the application, changes of the applications, or your presentation, that we get some further information, which seems to be an oversight, and filing and recording of the property, especially considering it to be what looks like a contributing structure within the historic district. Under normal circumstances, we would have had that information coming into this meeting this afternoon, but because of that oversight, we don't have it to really guide or gauge and therefore we are asking our historic consultant to do so before hearing the application.
So it's not possible to even present it to the board?
I would not recommend the board that we go forward without hearing and understanding. Again, we would have this information in the normal circumstances as a contributing structure within the historic districts. Because we haven't, I feel that we're deficient in hearing the application at this time.
How long will that take?
We have another 2 weeks, so the consultant will have a presentation at the next hearing.
And notifications, do we have to do anything?
You have to do nothing, but you've already been notified for for this application. It will continue on.
I'm a little disappointed, but if there's no other choice.
Understood. Well, board members, any issue? Brian?
No, I agree. Yeah.
Christine?
No, I agree.
Jeff?
Yes.
I don't
Thank
think that- I don't think you don't want to hear the presentation prior to this.
No, I
No.
don't. No. I
Okay.
appreciate it. Thank you. Motion to close motion to adjourn the application?
I make a motion that we adjourn the application of William and Scarlett Robertson at 445 Hill Street.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That concludes our historic applications for this evening. First application, non-historic. The applicant called me and they requested that this application be adjourned until our next meeting. So motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn.
I make a motion that we approve the applicant Village of Southampton's request to adjourn to our next meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Next application, also the applicant has a letter in file. Is there a date that they wish to have that adjourned until?
Yeah, December 14th, December 14th.
December 14th.
I make a motion.
Yes,
Okay. Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn until December 14th.
I make a motion that we approve the applicant Meadowmere Partners LLC to adjourn to our meeting on December 14th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application also requested by letter, a motion to adjourn until, what was the date?
This date is November 23rd.
November 23rd. Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn until November 23rd.
I make a motion that we approve the applicant Louise Gould at 104 Lewis Street, request to adjourn to our meeting on November 23rd.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application, please.
Next application is Ben Carr Building Corporation.
Good evening, Michael Barringer, architect
I
for
don't
the
think there's anything
applicant.
new in there.
Okay.
I've got a couple of things to hand out here. Give you 5 copies of the revised elevations, and the last page of those elevations is the sort of before and after of the front view of the house. Good evening. At the last meeting, we presented the architectural plans for new residents at 128 West Prospect Street, and the board had some comments and requested some general considerations for me to alter the plans. We did 4 things specifically. We lowered the ridge line 1 foot. We've removed the 3rd-story dormer. And on the left and right gable, we widened those gables by 2 feet. And we also changed the right and left overhang as a federal-style return so that that matches the front porch more closely. And I felt that the changes were helpful and the board's goal to sort of make the home a little calmer was one of the words that were used at the meeting, and so we did those things sort of specifically to our conversation with the board. I don't know if that is sufficient or whether there should be some further discussion on the changes, but
I think you cleaned it up a lot.
Yeah.
The third-story dormer doesn't give it the very vertical impression it was originally. I think it takes away, and I think that the break there on the gables takes away some of the sharp and peakness of that we were originally looking at, where we just saw the very narrow, very stream arrowish type of.
There was a suggestion to add a horizontal line above the second-story windows in the corbelling, which we did also, actually, so.
Brian, what do you think about the cleanup?
I think it's very successful. I think the house is sitting much nicer on the ground. I think it's a good job, Mike.
Esther, what do you think?
I think it's a major improvement.
Christine?
Thank you very much for taking our suggestions. It looks good.
Jeff?
Yeah, architecturally, fine. I just had a question on the couple of the other things where there was an issue about the second floor deck. Were you planning on discussing that as well?
Well, at the last meeting, we did discuss the 80-foot distance between my client's property and the pool and the existing screening. The board indicated that they didn't have a problem with the roof deck, and I'm
No, I
prepared-
don't think, just so we understand one another.
Okay.
This board never said that we didn't care about it and we had a
Okay.
problem with it. We said that if it was the applicant's responsibility to
Right.
present before this board and demonstrating before this board that the impact to that second-story deck is not going to be evasive or imposed on the neighbor's privacy.
Okay.
So that's what we were waiting to see, if
All right.
you've been
Well,
able to present
I
line of
did
sight.
reach out to the neighbor,
Mm-hmm.
who I'm well familiar with, and we discussed some screening that could allow them to not have any intrusion on their privacy, and we felt that we wanted the same thing. I have a plan that was drawn up today that shows 8 25-foot long.
You have a landscape plan that's prepared?
I have a supplemental plan to the site plan that, what it does is I don't know if I have copies for all you board members, but
Two are fine.
along the sight line between the roof deck and their pool, 8 trees that are 25 feet high, arborvitae trees.
Do you have 2 copies of that?
I do. I have 2 stamped copies right here.
I don't know if there was the neighbor immediately to the west did submit a letter to the board to write in which she was specific about her objection to the second floor deck and the fact that it would intrude on her privacy
Right.
in the pool. And she regrets that, in the letter she says she regrets that she cannot be here. So I don't know how you want to handle that.
I've had,
I was actually
Dozens
asking
of-
the chairman.
oh, I'm sorry.
You said you've had conversations with,
I've had, over the last 3 days, numerous
have anything in
emails
writing,
and
any-
conversations.
any-
I have it on my phone, which I can't turn on. They're in Nashville tonight. She gave me written approval that she agreed to this plan. She said with the possibility that 8 trees might be 8 to 10 trees. And I said, well, I don't know if that's the approval or not. We drew a specific plan that showed 8 trees, and I have a trail of emails and all sorts of things. They're former clients of mine, we're friends. I have submitted.
I understand what you're saying, and, you know, in light of a letter that was written, there has not been a letter refuting or supporting. So it's kind of difficult for us to accept that a person took the time to actually, quite frankly, email each and every one of the board members here.
Right.
And their concerns with privacy. And, you know, after conversation with you and discussion and what you say is the negotiations, didn't also take the time to say, I'm in favor of, and I know I'm not gonna be here. So it's kind of difficult, what you're saying. This is not a court of law, but it really is hearsay.
Right.
I'll see how the board feels as a whole, but just to let you know and suggest that, you know, it would be difficult for me to accept just a hearsay conversation. I would need to look at the plan and base my decision on what the plan states and how I feel the impact to, you say 8-foot trees?
No,
25.
25-foot tall trees
25-foot tall trees would
that
have.
that completely block the sight line from the roof deck to the pool that we
Okay.
talked about at the last meeting. And I went to the site, I submitted to them. I've spent the better part of the last 3 days accommodating their request for this, and they're traveling. And I went back to my office at 6:15
I get what you're
tonight.
saying. I'm not, what I'm saying is,
Okay,
the fact that we have in writing an email that was sent to all the board members, I couldn't negate, or I personally wouldn't feel,
Okay.
feel that it would be not responsible for me to negate that letter. So I have to look at the file and look at your plan and base a decision based on the impact on what you propose. And I consider that 25 feet that's in direct line of sight of your second-story deck in their backyard could in fact, and we're talking evergreens, correct?
yes, arborvitae.
Could
evergreens.
definitely cause the necessary privacy that I think will be reasonable.
I have an email from her that she is in acceptance of this plan with one caveat, that if it's 8 or is it 10 trees that are needed. And I've been genuine in my communication with them, and we are.
I hear what you're
poised
saying.
To move forward.
That would mean nothing if I don't have it in the file. I'm basing my decision on what I see.
So that's
Okay.
what,
Brian?
that's what I'm asking you to consider then.
Yeah, I think the screening's appropriate.
Okay.
And I remember talking about this at the last meeting, that we really didn't have an issue because we was looking at a garage.
Correct.
But then we got an email.
Well,
Yeah.
okay,
Esther?
I don't have an issue with it.
I'm going to defer to council on this.
I think Curtis is on the right track. It's very hard to vote on a matter when you have a standing objection from a neighbor that hasn't been updated for the meeting. I think it's rather inconsiderate of them to not put Michael in a position, on the board in a position to clarify this.
Would we be able to vote on the house without the deck?
Oh, yeah. Sure you could,
I
but
mean,
I don't think that's what the
the
applicant
neighbor
asked.
didn't respond, the neighbor didn't respond to the notice, they didn't respond to the first meeting, and
Well, they did respond. They sent an email. That is a form of
after
response.
the first meeting.
But that's a form of response.
Correct.
And therefore, and
Okay.
again,
All right,
Hear
well,
what I'm
I'll
saying?
do whatever this board
I'm
would
I'm
like.
in favor of what I see
Right.
as being a alternative, reasonable alternative to or solution.
It's an
Solution.
extreme, it's an extreme
Solution.
alternative to
So-
provide those trees.
But I can't. I'm not basing that decision on the
Verbal.
change of mind of a neighbor who now accepts it.
Right.
I'm just making that for the
Understood.
record, okay?
Understood.
Michael, an email to the board from them directly or through your office, something in writing signed off on is acceptable to the board?
I mean, as literally as 15 minutes ago, was hoping to get that response from them to bring to this
I
board
understand it.
tonight.
It's rather
We're on a
inconsiderate.
plan.
Right, it's rather inconsiderate to,
And
for them.
All right, I'll do whatever this board feels they have to do. I mean, I can't argue against what your preference is. I have to accept your preference. This is,
It's not a preference,
It's not-
Michael. It's a matter of more than a preference.
well, I'll ask the question, when a neighbor lodges an objection, does that block the board from, when you see 10...
You say block, and you gotta understand, we're talking about a neighbor that is most impacted. It's not a person in the community who's just riding by and sees something, and we're saying the person who is most affected by the construction of your second-story deck.
Correct.
So it's reasonable for this board to take that under consideration.
I assume it's totally reasonable. I mean, they have a second-story deck as well that this board approved.
Don't have an answer to that.
It's always the
Okay.
case.
Don't have an answer. I don't
Our
know
lot
if this
is-
board approved
you know,
it.
Again, our lot is...
A lot of
30
second-story decks were approved that were not supposed to be second-story decks.
Yeah.
So I can't answer that. What I will say is about your application and the impact of your application. I'm saying that the 25-foot trees are reasonable. I'll go through the rest of the board.
Okay, thank you.
Christine?
I think 25-foot trees are reasonable, but I defer to council on what the procedure is.
Jeff?
With the letter in the file, I think we'd have to wait. I mean, the board has had a long-standing policy about being deferent to privacy.
It has? Okay. It doesn't seem you have the,
Okay.
So, if you, again, if you could bring before this board, letter from the neighbor that is most affected by the second-story deck, or at this point, you can make the second-story deck non-accessible, but then you would have to reapply to make it accessible.
I would, if the board could grant me approval of a non-accessible deck, my contractor is poised to,
The challenge with that is,
I understand.
we don't have a set of
So you're
plans.
offering me something that you can't do.
Well, hear me out. We could do it in writing, subject to. We can close the application, subject to. There are different things we can do at this time for you, so that you can at least understand that there's nothing else on the table other than the second-story deck.
But you can't approve the application tonight.
Fully tonight,
Okay,
that we don't have the votes.
all right. I understand how things work here.
Anything further from council?
No, I just hope Michael's client understands that the board should not be in a position to have to deal with this.
I shouldn't be either.
Exactly. As
Yeah.
I said, it's very inconsiderate of these people to write a letter and then not follow up, knowing that this is coming to a
I
meeting
have-
tonight.
Done everything that I possibly could have this week to
I'm sure you have.
accommodate these
Yeah,
people.
I'm sure you have.
Bent over backwards, we're putting $8,000 worth of trees on the property, and,
Well, you can relate to them that the board considers their conduct,
yeah.
inconsiderate
Well,
and
It's
inappropriate.
okay. We'll just hold it off and come back. I'm asking for an adjournment to come back in 2 weeks.
Now, do you have a location on the site plan where the
Yeah.
trees are going?
Yes,
and-
he
Yes,
does.
we do.
Very specific.
And for the record, I feel that it's adequate screening.
I don't know why you're so intimidated by these neighbors. I think it's appalling.
I think it's a question of deference, Michael, and I think maybe if anybody else in the audience felt that they were in the same position, they'd want the board at least to give that consideration. Many people don't come in with the exact time reference you're expressing in terms of urgency,
Understood.
and that's all part of this equation. So it's not just one issue, it's several.
Okay.
May I ask a question about policy and procedure? This application calls for the construction of a pool house, and passing by the property, there's a building permit, and I don't know if that building permit is for the demolition only, but it says demolition, and then it says pool house and shed, so I don't know if it relates to the demolition or.
Just demolition, yes, sir.
No construction,
Correct.
okay.
Any public comment? Okay, a motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn.
I make a motion that we approve the applicant's request, Ben Carr Building Corporation, to adjourn to our next meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application.
Thank you, Michael.
This goes in the file.
Next application is 7 Squabble Lane.
Frank Greenwald, architect, 40 McGurk Street, East Hampton. I'm the architect and the applicant for 7 Squabble Lane. This is a new residence, main residence, pool house, swimming pool, on an existing lot on Squabble Lane. There's an existing house there that we're proposing to take down, and the construction calls for a new, very traditional shingle-style gambrel roof-ish house.
Small sets?
Next time.
Next time. You don't like those big ones?
No.
You should make that clear with the building department.
Yeah.
You have. I have a small set.
You wanna share yours?
This goes in.
Would you like it?
Actually, yes, I would like it. Well,
No.
It's sort of large.
we can
It-
give
it
you one of the
covers-
big ones if you like.
It covers the whole entire table. You hear
Yeah.
microphones and water spills. You want to go over your application, finishing, design, windows?
Yeah, so it's a fairly traditional as I said, shingle style, cedar shingle, white painted trim, white painted shutters, gambrel roof.
What is the lot size?
I think it's 4 acres.
186.
Maybe you need one of those big ones.
186. I think it's about 186, 4 acres.
It's maybe a hair over 4 acres. This particular client owns the property next door.
Sorry.
In a separate LLC, but, so it's the father and the son sort of share this big 9.5 acre property. There's a man-made lake on the property that Charlotte Ford built years ago, I guess. But, it's still there. And it's conforming with all aspects of zoning. It's just
Yeah.
I think it sort of fits in the village. It's very, as I said, very traditional shingle style.
Well, the design is definitely traditional. Nothing traditional about 27,000 square feet. But
Yeah.
it's what it is. We're sitting on 4 acres. Positioned pretty centralized, I think, in that area itself. It's not out of keeping, but it is a rather large home. Brian, any comments?
No, I agree with you, it is, but I think the architecture is very tastefully done, and if you're gonna do a large home, I'd like to see it done well. I don't have an issue with it, unless there's some neighbors that it's affecting, but we'll see.
Esther, architecturally?
Architecturally, it's very tasteful. The materials,
So shingle,
Shingle.
white painted trim, custom
Okay.
windows.
custom windows, okay. I think it's a beautiful home. It's extremely large, but it's extremely tasteful, well-proportioned. It's a beautiful house.
It reads as two-story home.
Yeah. You're not going to have an objection, certainly from one neighbor. It's a family member.
We've done the houses.
Never
on-
know.
We've done all the houses on the other side. So.
Some of my siblings, I like. Jeff?
I agree with Brian and Esther's assessments.
Okay. Any public comments on the application? Smaller sets next.
Half size sets next.
Liz.
Thank you very much.
Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the application of 7 Squabble Lane LLC at 7 Squabble Lane.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
Traditional.
It's the new traditional.
Bigger than my college dorm. Next application, please.
Next application is Sharon Jacob, 52 Bishop's Lane.
The plants are just as big. Get your work out.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Sean Leonard, the architect for the applicant. What we have here is, we are looking to reconstruct what is an existing barn that is currently on the site. The barn that is on the site or accessory structure is currently about 30 feet off of the property line and coming off of the street and about 5 feet off of the northern property line. I have a picture of it to show you guys of the barn. The proposed is actually to rebuild it in its same form, but we are moving it now so it'll be 80 feet off of the road and 20 feet off of the northern property line. Part of doing this required us to go for a zoning variance, which we did, and that was granted. So what we are looking to do now is to, like I said, rebuild the barn. It's the same length, it is the same height as the barn that is structure that is there now, and this will, but there will be some changes to it. So we're looking to open it up a little bit more, create a little bit more glass that'll be facing onto the south end there. And there is a kitchen that goes on here. Currently it's a 2-story building, and we are proposing it to still be a two-story building. There will be a bedroom inside, and it will be used as kind of as a gathering place for the family. They have a large family, and the house that's on the property is rather small, so this actually would work as kind of a gathering place for different events, holidays, and such.
They need a two-story barn.
Well, they currently have it now, so we're just looking to, and then this is the kind of a proposed rendering of what we put, of what it would look like. It'd be cedar siding, it'd be cedar roof. The frame on the windows is gray.
Greenish gray.
And then the rest of it would be white trim.
Yep.
Adaptive reuse.
Sorry?
Adaptive reuse.
There's nothing being reused. This is they're using the same footprint, but it's modernized.
Yes.
Yeah, very much so. No historical significance of the barn, right? Nothing we have to be concerned with. This barn,
Nothing
right? I know how you like
listed.
barns.
Yes, we love barns.
Okay. Any public comment on the application? Ryan?
I think it's a nice project.
Esther?
I think it's terrific. You're moving it back from the property line. You're taking away something that really is pretty much of an eyesore at this point and replacing it with something clean, fresh, modern, in proportion. It's beautiful.
I think it's great.
Yeah, knowing the shape of the property, it's a nice use on that property. The only disappointment will be I see the barn was recently painted, very, very funky.
That was done as a fundraiser to raise
It's
money.
really
to
great.
raise money for a village in. I don't remember the exact country. It's a small third world country. So that's what.
It's very creative. If you've driven by there before they take it down, I guess kids or adults painted it all multicolored. It's really cute.
No further public comment? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the application of Sharon Jacob at 52 Bishop's Lane.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next application, please.
Next application is David and Eve Monjardo on Meeting House Lane.
Baby sets. Also a baby project.
How big is the pool house?
461 square feet.
Trim matching the existing house?
Yes.
Material being used?
It's Marvin clad windows, red cedar shingles, roof and siding, all white trim, everything to match the house.
Thank you very much for the adjacent property photographs. This is extremely helpful.
Brian, any comments?
No, I think it's fine.
Esther?
I think it's charming and lovely and appropriate for the property.
Christine?
No, I think it's completely appropriate.
And this is where the existing pool house is. Yeah, it's a vast improvement. It's going to be great.
Any public comment on the application? This is where it's too small. We need grand two-story barns.
I have a smaller one coming
Okay.
up.
Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the application for the pool house of Dave and Eve Mongiardo on Meeting House Lane.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application, please.
Next application is Frederick Eaton for driveway gates.
Hello.
Bill Johnson. My mother's driveway.
Sorry?
My mother,
Oh,
Oakley.
Well, you didn't say mother-in-law. That's
And my stepfather.
Is it National Mother-in-Law's Day? It was yesterday, okay. Oops, I missed it. Is that the,
Yeah, that's them.
do you have two renderings?
I have what she gave me,
Who is she?
my mother.
Okay.
Sorry about this.
It's okay, we just need two renderings.
Looking at the survey, they do need this.
Oh. That, well, we would need it all. We don't have a surveying file, there's not two renderings.
It has two surveys. There's
Okay.
nothing rendered.
Is there spacing listed either?
What is your spacing between the slats? What the spacing is? Where's your mother?
Off in the picture. She's in Florida.
Oh.
Yeah. Mother's. It's about like this.
Not gonna cut it.
The spacing is 50-50. The slats, the space between the slats is about equal.
Okay, we need numbers. There's a couple of things we're missing. We're missing another plan. The exact, yeah.
You need another plan.
We need another plan, or at least a rendering. We need to know what the spacing is between the slats. Thank you for the height and the width. There won't be any lanterns, any lanterns above? No.
Just unpainted
Just
wood.
Okay. And thank you for the survey. Does the survey have the driveway gates installed?
Actually, they are installed.
Yeah, they're there.
That's the picture you're looking
Your
at.
mother set you up.
Now it's my stepfather.
Okay, I don't see the driveway gates installed. Do you have them shown on the survey? I have a copy of your survey. You
I think
you
they're on
should
there,
be
yeah.
here showing how where it will be installed, where it's actually gonna, is it inset? Is it closer to the road? Is it on Moses?
Well, it's on Moses.
Okay. I know it's installed, but this board has to go under the assumption that it's not.
Okay.
Okay, so we would need to see it installed on the survey, so we know exactly the positioning. Someone, whoever the licensed architect, could actually take this and.
It's not on there?
It's not on there.
Okay.
Sorry. Second rendering and the spacing between. Any questions?
All right, let me just make sure I got it all. So you need another rendering.
Yes.
You want to know the spacing between the slats.
Yes.
And you need another survey with the gates actually on it.
Showing the positioning, yes. No, I mean, the rendering's fine. Color rendering shows it's the material. Is it pine? Is it oak? What type of wood?
Wood.
It's fine. Bring us another design, another rendering.
Picture.
Okay. Any public comment on the application? Please step forward.
Speaking in favor, don't worry.
Oh, good.
He was worried about his mother. Joseph Sanchez, 112 Moses Lane, right across the street. I think the grades look great. I'm here for my bi-monthly positive neighbor response, so it looks great. They just question, it's natural cedar. He has an existing 4-foot that's painted white. I don't know if there's any code. I could care less if it's natural cedar or white, but pick one or the other so it doesn't look different. One is natural cedar, one is white. That's all. Looks great.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay. Anything further from the board?
Nope.
I actually think that this cedar will make it less obvious. It's a very tall gate. It's over 8 feet. So I think the cedar.
Wait a minute, what do you mean it's over 8 feet? Is that code?
It's 8 feet.
It's an 8-foot gate.
feet.
Driveway gate?
8 feet.
Okay.
So I think the cedar will make it less, less opaque.
Okay. So you understand, are you Do you understand exactly what it is this board needs in order for us to have a complete application?
I just listed the three things.
You're asking, so you'll have them at the next meeting?
Not me, but somebody will.
I don't blame you.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn the application of Frederick Eden at 121 Moses Lane for driveway gates.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application, please.
William and Leslie Collins, 7 Davids Court.
Good evening. I'm Jim McChesney. I'm the architect for the applicant, and this is a project under construction, and we're asking for permission for the pool house and the driveway.
How high is the pool house?
It's
9.6 plus
yeah.
11 something.
Yeah.
It looks like it's just a pergola with
It's
like
really
two.
just a pergola
Yeah.
with two kind of square buildings underneath. It's what, there's also a landscape plan. It's really what separates the pool from the tennis court.
It's charming.
Yeah.
It's really lovely.
I like that.
Driveway gates has lanterns on them on the top, correct?
Yes.
Are they frosted or are they,
sorry?
clear or are they frosted?
Not clear.
They're clear? You know what the wattage is? Just trying to figure out the illumination with the,
60 watt, or less.
and sorry?
60s are a lot with clear glass.
I agree. Could they be frosted?
They could be.
The pillars are wood, white,
It's
spacing between the slats.
3 inches.
Transparency is good with the type of wattage you would prefer to have it frosted. Other than that, I had no issue with the design of the pergola slash pool house and driveway gates. Brian, comments?
No, I think it's fine.
Esther?
I like it.
Christine?
No, I like it.
Thank you.
I'm fine, thank you.
Any public comment on the application? A motion to approve with the
Frosted glass.
frosted glass.
I make a motion that we approve the pool house and driveway gates for William and Leslie Collins with the proviso that we have frosted glass on the lanterns.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good luck.
Next application, please.
Next application is Peter Dempsey, 10 Cobblefield Lane.
Hi, my name is Rafa Krupa. I'm a representative client. We asked for the permission to replace a few windows indoors in the house. And
I'm sorry, what was your name first?
Rafa Krupa.
You have that?
No.
Okay, you may want to spell it for me.
Sure. It's R-A-F-A-L. K-R-U-P-A. K-R-U-P-A.
Thank you.
So you're replacing windows and doors?
Replacing 2 windows, adding 1 sliding door, and replacing existing
Yeah,
door
we got
in the back of the house. And 1 in the back of the garage.
Windows and doors?
Yes, that's it.
We saw that.
We saw.
Why are they here? Yeah, well, I also asked the question, because I did drive by the property, and it's beautiful. But this is part of a private association. And does that even come before us?
I don't care, yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
That's not the issue. The concern is that you're talking about windows and doors.
We're adding new door on the back of the house.
They're changing the sizes of them.
Changing the sizes of
Right,
doors?
yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Just
Sorry, I wasn't-
2 little windows are becoming 2 larger windows. That's it.
It's an improvement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Any public comment on the application? Anything further from the board?
No, it's an improvement to the
Motion to
property.
approve.
Hold them upstairs, just a very little. Thank you.
I make a motion that we approve the application at 10 Cobblefield Lane of Peter Dempsey.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application, please.
Lee Marie Rosalia, Elm Street.
Thank you.
Franklin Rosalia, 145 Elm Street. I'm the owner and contractor, general contractor too. It's a proposal to build a new house, demolish the one that's existing. In Architectural Review Board, demolition evaluation has been done by Mr. Studenroth, and which should be in the file. There was
Could I
none of the
I
five.
just- We weren't able to determine this is a house that was built in 1890, circa 1880, 1890, and I don't know, Zach, had you reviewed it? Because you weren't able to. Can you pull the letter out of the file? Because Antoinette wasn't able to identify the signature.
I have no idea.
Well, if it's a demolition report, it would be my signature because no one else does them.
Zach.
But
Zach.
why speculate? Yeah.
Is that you?
That's me.
Okay.
So you've done an evaluation?
Yes, but you'll have to refresh my.
I'm going to just give you the report.
Yeah, maybe okay, thank you. That would be refreshment. Okay. Thank you. Touch a picture.
Here's one with a picture.
All right. Okay, this is not a complete. Go. Okay. Got it. Okay. Got it. This is yours. And this is ours.
Do we have
Got
a,
it.
have you provided us with a streetscape?
Yep. And here's a streetscape but showing the relative.
Before we proceed on, your evaluation on the property, Zach.
Yep. Apparently, this was some time ago. My evaluation is, there are two factors. One is it appears to date from the late 19th century. It's been substantially enlarged with additions which are not appropriate to the original architecture. More importantly, it doesn't meet any of the 5 criteria that the village has defined as potential consideration for individual landmarking. And therefore, there is no procedure to continue with consideration for its preservation or the denial.
It doesn't raise
of
to the level of historic significance for it to be
individually listed as a landmark.
You're on.
No need to repeat what he said. The new home removes many of the non-conforming items that are there. Right now, it doesn't conform to pyramid law, variances for a rear yard parking location, a rear yard porch setback. We're also taking away the 2-family dwelling voluntarily and turning it into a conforming single-family home, which was received favorably by the village building department and the village attorney. Just to note, the current and proposed floor areas don't change. The overall house lot coverage doesn't change. In fact, the new house is less lot coverage than the existing house, although the porches were enlarged. Elm Street, as you know, has a variety of houses with respect to styles, colors, heights, and so forth. This lot on Elm Street is unique because it's the least depth-wise of all the lots. You can see it on the, you were provided with a copy of this, but on the relative positioning of the houses. We kept the width of the new house the same as the old house, a little bit less, actually 10 inches less, and that's what I have to say. Just to note, some of the renderings were revised after the actual plans. They're a little bit simpler. We tried to revise the design a little bit to make it more simple.
So what you're saying is the footprint is the same, it's just being moved back?
Correct. The overall footprint.
The overall, the house is like an L, is it not? I think.
The existing house or the new house?
No, the existing house.
Existing house is all over the place. No, it's kind of a rectangle with ins and outs,
Yeah,
really.
it's just like, because when you look at it, you've got the left-facing side, and then it sort of like L's in, doesn't it? Like a dog legs to the right,
Not much.
the existing?
Not really, it's,
Well, that's the front, but I guess it extends to the back.
since the back, that, I mean, it
Yeah.
recesses in the back a little bit, there's a garage here. The left side is pretty much, goes straight back,
So it's moving forward, you're right. How far is it moving forward?
about 20 feet.
And how's that in comparison to the other homes on the street?
So you can look at the,
Is that to give you more backyard?
yeah, the lot is the least depth-wise of all the lots. There's an additional piece of property in the back that, we would have tried to work with the house, but we'd have to rip half of it off to get the pool in. So.
Has that been, sorry to question you, but has that been surveyed from my view, looking down, that all the other houses were lined up? And I thought, stepping it off, that you moving it up by 20 feet would put it in front of the others. Again, this is just a layman, maybe my feet are as short as my length, but
The houses to the right, the one immediately to the right is probably about 10 foot further back. That was redone, I think, in the 2000 era. All these houses way to the right are much more forward, and the houses to the left are varying. It is more forward,
right.
but
So on that diagram, the block that says 145, that's where it
that's
is?
the proposed house.
So it's gonna be further back than the other houses?
No.
No, it's in front.
Give this to Jeff.
It's further back
Do
than
you
all
have
of
a
those
streetscape?
others that are further up.
Do you have a streetscape?
Yeah, this,
That's the streetscape.
right.
It's not further back, it's here.
It's in line.
It's much bigger than these.
Right, right, okay. Just from, I don't know what it looked like, it was even with that top.
Brian, comments?
I'm still going through it.
Esther, comments?
I'm going to leave the location of the house for a moment and just deal with the architecture. I took a look at this at great length today. I'm troubled because the architecture is so busy. There's so much going on every single elevation that I don't even know where to begin with it, to be honest with you. You're on Elm Street is by and large is a street of very traditional homes, with very simple proportions and facades. This house does not feel harmonious with the other houses on the street architecturally. So that's just, and I don't know how to guide you other than to say it's extremely busy. The roof lines, you've got this turret on one side, you've got another completely different roof line on every other side of the house. You've got long windows. I don't know. Brian, help me out on
Yeah.
this.
I think that the main issue with it is your roof.
Roofs.
Roofs. There's so much going on the top of this house with dormers and turrets and things not lining up, that it's just making the house feel very chaotic.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like 8 different roof lines just on the street. Now, is there a reason for that? I mean, typically when we see various roof configurations is because it's been add on to. So
Right.
you're going with a very open vanilla, brand new envelope. You're tearing down, you're putting in constructing new construction. Is there a reason why the complexity of the roof lines and?
It's what we worked with the architect and tried to make it have some play to it, not just a plain house, but some elements to it. The model is simplified a little bit since, it should be in your records, but we did simplify some of the roofs, like in the front. We got rid of the shed here, and we made this fascia and gable run through it, so that is somewhat simplified. But on the one side, where we hit the pyramid law, so that's what caused it. On the left side, the south side, that's what caused well, we would have preferred it was just a flat, simple roof, but we were fighting that law.
Understood. But again, understanding that you're dealing really with a fresh slate. So there could have been some other creative ways to have and I'm not saying that your house has to look like every house on Elm Street, but Elm Street is a very, very sensitive area. It's one of those areas where it's like it has a foot in the historic district and a foot out. It is more of a traditional community. It has a lot of historical significance. If you ride up and down, if you go down 3 or 4 times and then you go back to your drawing here, you're going to feel out of place because it's just it's not as eclectic as your design that you're putting before us. So for I think this board as a whole, and I think what you're hearing is less is more, toning it down more, making it a little more traditional in terms of roof lines. The material, you're using typical material for Southampton Village, fine. It's just that your design could be toned down just a tad bit. Jeff, any other questions, Jeff?
Well, I'm sort of in agreement with what everybody's saying, but, and maybe what you're saying is on a very fundamental basis, this house, architecturally and otherwise, is not in harmony with that street, which is a street of village houses, and yes, some of them are larger scale, but they're quaint in their size. The existing house, while it would be my brother's not to tear it down, I agree with Zach. It's been, over the years, changed significantly, where one would be hard-pressed to make an argument for preserving it. But it still has the look of a village house, maybe one with a little bit of a farm type of feeling, and so it fits in. What this is, and I'm not the architect, Brian is, and between the architecture, its breadth, and coming up on the property as much as it is, it's going to be smack dab in your face and changes the neighborhood that is, it truly is a gateway. It's the way from the station to the village. And I would say a large part of our residents and summer crowd come up there. And this, in my mind, is disharmonious with that and doesn't represent Southampton.
Christine?
I agree with Jeff. I mean, there are a lot of different houses on Elm Street, but this is too different, too complicated, too pretentious in a way in its design to be harmonious with the other houses on the street.
Your photos are a classic example of how quiet the neighborhood is. If you just run through the various photos you hear, you see that the homes are really traditional, they're very quiet. And then I look at your rendering and I see it's just not in keeping. So I don't want to labor over it anymore. And I don't think the board has anything further to say about it. If we could just ask that you come back with a little more traditional design, I think that we could look at that and hopefully come back. And I would suggest that you drive up and down Elm Street and the surrounding community and really get a good feel of the community overall. Any public comment on the application? Step forward, please.
My name is Mike Famiglietti. I am the neighbor of 139. I'm in the south home. And they're going to move the house up 20 feet further than what it is now. So most of the houses are set back at 50 feet, 51 feet. I think his house is set back at around 50 feet. Moving it up 20 feet, and I'm at my front door, I'm looking at not a fence anymore. I'm looking at a 2.5-story building that's going up. That's 28 feet further out than my home. So my view this way is gone.
Your house number is, I'm sorry?
139.
What number?
139. So in relation to you personally, yes. But in relation to the other homes on the street, it's
None of them are
pretty
set up
comparative.
that far.
Well,
So as you go down the north towards the train station, the
Yeah,
lots get
train
smaller
sta-
and
exactly,
smaller.
Exactly, I agree.
And the houses start moving.
These
But
houses are much smaller.
those houses are much smaller, but as they come down south, all the houses are much bigger. They're all set back quite far. Now, being a resident of 35 years, I've been living in this home. I mean, I don't need that change. I mean, I like the design of the house. The design of the house doesn't bother me at all. That doesn't bother me. It's the forwarding of the house of 20 feet further up. That bothers me.
Okay. Good point, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Hi, Leah Rosalia, 145 Elm Street. We talked to Mike and we understand his concerns. But as we've shown, there are many houses, not just on this streetscape, but closer to Main Street, or not Main Street, but further south, that are quite a bit closer. The variety on Elm Street goes back and forth. And we feel that it's not unreasonable to have that same variety. Again, just to reiterate, you know, our house directly to the north starts to move up and continues that way. So it's not something that's completely out of line. These are also twice the depth of our lot. So yes, if we had this continuous lot, there would be no reason for it. But there is a reason for it. We would like to have a backyard. We have no backyard. We'd like to have a pool. Again, I just want to reiterate that we are voluntarily giving up a two-family non-conforming house, conforming it, getting rid of, variances. So I think that should be taken into consideration. I understand that
We don't
want
have
that
a-
to be simplified,
Yeah,
but
I understand what you say, but there's no community benefit and you transferring your property from a two-family to a single-family. This board is a aesthetic board, so our responsibility, our purview is only how it looks, what's its impact to the community. And what you use it and how it's being used inside is irrelevant before this board.
okay, but I understand the issue of moving it up, but is that an issue? If we clean up the plans, is this going to be a continuing issue?
Well, it just
What
came
do
up.
we need to
It just came up
show?
in conversation, a little panel on the board and see how they feel about the move up since it's come up, and a neighbor most affected by the change mentioned that he has some concerns.
Sure, no, I understand that. I also wanted to mention that 2 years ago, when we bought the property, we bought 12 to 14-foot arborvitaes. We planted them for screening, for privacy purposes for ourselves and for our neighbors. So, we're willing to work that way as well.
See that.
But we do need to have, in order to fit a pool and even have a backyard, we would need to move the house down.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
They have a second lot, it's a flag lot they own, and they do own the second piece as well, so it's not like
I'm sorry, you're talking about 147?
147.
Their ownership in another parcel is irrelevant. We're looking at this.
No, that's all I needed to say. I mean, as far as if they can give some sort of a variance on the pool, it's setbacks of 20 feet, I don't know if that's the route they.
Not before this board. We're not,
Okay.
we're not here to hear polls.
All right, thank you.
Anything in addition? Anything further? Board members, a neighbor has some concerns about the house being pushed forward. I don't want to put that in deaf ears. Is there any concern based on the streetscape that's been presented before this board? Some of the other homes that are being shown as similar in setback. Any issue, any concerns about the pushing forward of the house? Brian?
I can understand where they're coming from with it being pushed forward. My concern is that you're going to see more of the side of the house when you're coming down Elm Street, and that needs to get cleaned up. That's an elevation.
Well, he's going to come back with another design.
Right. So I'd rather see that and then decide what's happening with this.
Good point. Esther?
My feeling about it is that it is relevant because really the three houses that we're talking about, 139, the proposed house on 145, and 155, are really three lots that are fairly large. And I think those 3 lots, when taken in context, are going to feel like a unit, much more so than going from 161 to 185, which are narrower lots. So if I'm looking at this, I actually am looking at the 3 lots as they relate to each other, and I think that moving the house forward will have an impact, and I think it is something that we really have to take a serious look at.
Jeff?
Yes, as I, that house on that width of lot and that presence at that setback is problematic. So I'm basically repeating what Esther was saying.
Christine?
The scale of this house, moving it forward will emphasize the scale of the house and also, to me, make it much less harmonious on that street. It's,
I agree. If
the
you,
massing is too much.
you're coming back with another design. As you come back with another design, take in consideration that you are moving the structure closer to the road, and the impact is going to be that much greater. So, as you're, again, looking at a blank slate and able to create and design something which is within keeping with the community, also take in consideration the impact the mass is going to have moving that parcel forward, and the impact it's going to have to the neighbors and neighboring parcels.
Any suggestions, or, I mean?
Yes. My suggestion would be to leave the house where it is and design a very, very simple traditional Hamptons house. Really just take out some of the houses in the Hamptons and pick something from one of those books that's really clean and simple and pristine that will fit there. That would be my suggestion.
Or we can't get a pool if we leave it where it is, so that's.
I might also ask, add as well, the fact that the lot behind them is
under the same ownership.
Under the same
Irrelevant,
ownership.
that we would- we
It's
don't wanna-
irrelevant. On the other hand, it may give you, in regards to this lot, more flexibility to make concessions in terms of how you want to place it and still be within the zoning code. I don't know if you're maxed out to where it's placed, but you might have more flexibility since you would be your own neighbor.
Yeah, it doesn't help really, it's.
If it doesn't, then it doesn't.
We're talking about the confines of this parcel.
You could also do a lap pool. You've got a pool that's 16 feet wide, and if you took it down and just made it a lap pool, you might be able to achieve that as well. 16 feet is a 3-lane pool.
I don't know if you have a side yard for that, if you consider what the current envelope is.
No, I'm just talking about making the pool
Yeah,
narrow.
but the current envelope is here. That's the current envelope of the house. There is no backyard for any type of pool. What is the rear yard on the pool?
20.
20.
They're at it.
You don't have it. Their back porch or back door is right at the 20-foot mark. So, again, you have a blank envelope, so I would suggest you take in consideration, understanding and seeing the survey, you don't have a rear yard, that's understandable. But you're bringing a lot forward, so just be sensitive to that, okay? You're asking the board to adjourn so that you can prepare yourself at the next meeting, correct? Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn.
I make a
till the next
motion that
meeting.
we approve the applicant Leah Marie Rosalier at 145 Elm Street, request to adjourn to our next meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application, please.
Nicholas Burnett, 42 Cooper Street.
Do we have one of these in the file, Brian? I think these are important, actually. I put a couple of those in.
Gotcha workshop. This is a 116 square foot addition. Under a second floor house, we're enclosing a porch, an entry porch, and creating a mud room. It's on the side and rear of the house, underneath the existing house. white panels to make it cute.
When you're done, it will look like it was always there. I have no issues with this.
Jeff, comments?
Fine, great. Yeah.
Christine?
It works out.
Thank you.
Brian?
I'm fine with it.
Esther?
I'm good with that.
Any public comments on the application? Motion to approve.
Make a motion that we approve the application at 42 Cooper Street of Nicholas Burnett.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application, please.
Marjorie Colessa, 34 Willis Street.
The request is to construct a second-story addition and a porch addition to the existing dwelling. My name is Marjorie Colessa. You have in the packet the architect's the drawings, as well as my decision from the zoning board. And,
Second story with a hip roof.
yes.
Brian, any comments?
No, I think it's very simple. You know, it's just small
Small house.
fences, yeah.
We like small houses.
It's in keeping with the neighborhood.
Esther?
No, and thank you again for all the photographs of the adjacent houses. I have no issue with the application.
Christine?
No, it's simple and appropriate. Thank you.
Jeff?
I drove by, happened to meet Marjorie outside the house and agree. It's appropriate and simple and cute.
It's a grandma's house.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
Make a motion that we approve at 34 Willis Street the application of Marjorie Colessa.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Oh, our last application for the evening?
Robert Barron for driveway gates.
The applicant present.
He only had a picture before and we asked for a drawing.
Yeah, that was adjourned until tonight at the last meeting.
So, do we have two renderings?
They're in there, yeah. I think the gate turned out nice, you know, where it started.
It's not 50%.
You got 3.5 foot panelization, another 3 foot of open.
Mm-hmm.
You're happy with that amount of panelization?
We went round and round with this one because it's that fenced-in property, and
On
he showed
Wickapock.
he showed a photograph, and we thought it was fine, but it wasn't a drawing. So we asked for a
He
drawing.
just needed an extra plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we approved that.
Right.
Any public comment on the application? I don't see the second set of plans here. Oh, see, that makes sense. This isn't it.
It's this one.
It's that one. yeah.
Right, that's where he started.
No public comment? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the application of Robert Barron at 83 Wickapog Road for the driveway gates.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Concludes our applications for this evening. We just have minutes. Everyone was present?
All present at the last meeting.
All present. Everyone had the opportunity to review.
Yes.
Questions, comments, concerns, issues?
No.
Motion to approve the minutes from October 13th.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from our meeting of October 13th, 2015.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And motion to close the meeting of the Architectural Review Board on this evening.
I make a motion that we close the meeting of the Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation, October 26th, 2015.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night.
Good night.